Uh, we're live. Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to this hangout. I am joined by my good subscribers and friends, Alan Caylow and Jack McCullough, and today we are going to be reflecting on the first and original actor to play James Bond, Sean Connery. So, this is going to be quite a treat for Alan because Sean Connery is his favourite Bond, as I understand. So, yeah,
hmm
let's go through the Sean Connery era. We're basically going to do this by reflecting on each film and then summing up Connery's performance. So, seeing as he's your favourite, Alan, do you want to kick off the discussion with Doctor No?
Oh, Doctor No. Well, I mean, I definitely like it a lot. I mean, it's the debut Bond movie, so I think it's definitely a a classic movie in its own right, being the first one, and yeah, the one that started it all. I mean, Connery's terrific in it, and you got the first Bond girl with Ursula Andress, and I think if I had any criticism of the first one, and actually you guys brought it up in your reviews of the movie, is that Doctor No himself is on screen a little too short, and I do think like the final battle with Bond and Doctor No is also too short. I mean, it's over. It's over before it even begins when they start fighting with each other. But other than that, it's certainly a classic Bond film in its own right, and I definitely like it a lot. It doesn't quite make it into my personal top 10, but it's still a good Bond film. And
Hmm.
as I say, it's a classic in its own right.
And
So,
out of 10, what would you rate the film? I mean, for people who haven't seen your reviews, what would you rate out of 10?
let's see. Probably, hmm, so maybe 7.5.
Hmm. Yeah,
I'd
fair enough.
say, yeah. I mean, I do like it. It's good. It's good. I put it at number 13 on my ranking. So I'd say maybe 7.5 for me.
Yeah. Well, thanks very much, Alan. That's a good summary. Now, Jack.
Okay.
Oh, he's just muted himself for some reason. Well, while we wait for Jack, I'll quickly sum up my thoughts. Jack has now left, so I'll just quickly
Okay.
re-invite Jack, and then I'll give my thoughts.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, I pretty much agree with you. Doctor No is, in its own right, a simple, basic, start to the series. I mean, it's nothing revolutionary, but Connery certainly is terrific, and the delivery of the line is by far the best delivery. I know I prefer Daniel Craig as Bond, but I have to say,
Sorry, I had an interruption. Sorry about that.
it's all right. I'll quickly sum up my thoughts. Yeah, but Connery's terrific, and the delivery of the line is superb. Probably the best of the series. Love Ursula Andress. Quarrel doesn't really get much to do, but he's quite good. Well, I can't remember anyway. The action is pretty simple, but it works. Doctor No is introduced far too late in the film, and the climax isn't that great. I mean, I'm glad that they had the Bond theme playing in, the title sequence as opposed to a song. Is it a hey or a ho? I mean, you check my review out for that. But yeah, I think
Yeah, yeah.
it's a pretty good start. I mean, it's nothing. I mean, the scene with the spider. Some people like take the piss out of that, but I don't mind it. I think it's quite cool. And Connery has some nice lines. When he's like, Russia Smith and Wesson, you've had your six. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And he
Classic
has,
stuff.
yeah, he's very, Connery really showed himself. I think his best performance was yet to come, but I've got no issues with him here. So I would personally give Doctor No an 8 out of 10 because I totally admire what it did for the series. Without Doctor No, no Skyfall.
hmm
So I gotta tip my hat to Terrence Young and Sean Connery. So yeah, Jack, what do you think of Doctor No?
Well, I kind of agree what Alan. I really understand I'm agreeing what Alan said in his review of Doctor No. It kind of feels like a pilot episode. And I do like Doctor
hmm
No, but it does feel like it is the start of the series. It is a pilot for what was it's really before the Bond formula was
Hmm.
perfected. And I mean, Joseph Wiseman as Doctor No, I thought he was great, but he was introduced far too late in the film.
The parody.
Connery, Yeah, but Connery though was great. Of course, I love his line. When he delivers a line, it's great. And yeah, Smith and Wesson, and you know, Connery's he's great in this film. And underneath the mango tree, I love that. And then Ursula Andress, she's sexy and
Oh yeah, she is pretty sexy.
she's great. I mean, there are a few silly things in it, like the dragon on the beach. I thought that was a bit stupid, but I
And the
mean,
title sequence as well.
yeah, the three blind mice, But
Tree behind mice.
apart from that, though, yeah, I do like it. But it's not in my top 10. I agree with Alan. It wouldn't be in my top 10 either. I think I'd give it a 7 out of 10. But it's a good start. It's a good start. It's just not, it's before the formula was perfected. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
thanks very much, Jack.
yeah.
Out of 10, what would you rate it?
Oh, I said 7.
Oh, 7, sorry. Yeah, I mean, Doctor Knows, yeah, certainly in the better half of Connery's era. So we'll move on to From Russia with Love. Alan, what's your take on From Russia with Love?
I think I like this one more than you guys did. I think it's a classic. I think it is one of the very best of the series. I know I'm quite sure Sean Connery said it was his personal favorite. There seems to be a conflict that says that he likes Thunderball the best, but actually I read that he likes From Russia with Love the best of all the Bond films that he did. And even though the pacing on it can be a little slow at times, but I still think that the story is very, very intriguing, and I think Connery again gives another terrific performance. I think the villains are great, Rosa Klebb and Grant. The train fight is classic. This is also the movie where Bond gets his first official gadget, with the briefcase. That's a pretty cool briefcase. I'd like to have one of those. It's a really neat device. I like the story. I like how it unfolds, and I also like let's see,
The music?
Pedro Almodovar's. Do I have the actor's name right? I think Pedro Almodovar's as a Bond's contact in the movie. I think it's a great performance. So sad that he was dying of cancer at the time he did the film, but I mean,
Yeah.
he still gives a wonderful performance, and I like his chemistry with Connery in that one. I like the action scene with the helicopter, and apparently that's really Connery there on the ground as the helicopter's whizzing by, which I think was pretty impressive that Connery did that, because that was pretty dangerous. Let's see. Oh yes, of course, the Bond girl who's well, her name escapes me, guys. Help
Tanya.
me. Anya. Yeah. No, I like her
Tanya.
too.
Tanya.
Yeah, Tanya. Yeah. I like her too. So I think it is. Yeah, it is a leap forward for Bond, in my opinion. It is one of my favorites. As I said, I know you guys aren't as crazy about it as I am, but I do put it in my top 5. I think it's number 4. On my chart, and as far as how I would rate it, I think I would definitely rate it probably 9 out of 10 for me.
Fair enough.
From Russia with Love.
What do you think of the music by John Barry, particularly the one in the title sequence?
Yeah, no, the score for it is really, really good. Yeah, I mean, again, great solid score from John Barry. What I remember of it is very, very good, very good. So yeah, I like the score a lot.
Very well, thanks, Alan. Jack, what's your take on From Russia with Love?
Well, actually, I've grown to like this a lot more recently. In my recent viewing, I'd put it over Doctor No. I mean, I do like this film. Connery, he gives a better performance than in Doctor No, even though that was great. But I mean, the story, it's good. I mean, Karen Bay, I think his name is, the guy who's dying of cancer and who's Bond's ally in that film. Yeah, he was good. I mean, there were some things I didn't really see the point of the gypsy camp scene, but Red Grant, he was good. He didn't get a lot to do, but I did like him. There is one Connery one-liner I didn't understand. I don't think that's that great. When the helicopter blows up, he's like, "Oh, we could say one of their aircraft is missing." Just I thought that was a bit dodgy. But Tanya, to be honest, I didn't like her that much. She didn't. I mean, I didn't see the whole point of the. I didn't see the whole point of the sex tape. Like, why are they filming Bond having sex? I didn't really see the point of that. But
Because it's Connery.
I still thought it was funny. I like that scene.
Yeah.
The dialogue is a bit kind of weird, though.
Yeah, Rosa Klebb though.
Made me laugh.
Rosa Klebb's it's kind of reference that she's lesbian in this, because the way she's like, "Oh, you're a fine-looking young girl," It's kind of, But I did. Rosa Klebb was good. The guy who played Blofeld, I liked. Kronstein was quite good for the scenes he was in, but I do have a lot. Like, I do like this film more than Doctor No now. I'd give it an 8 out of 10. I mean, there are some issues. I think for me it's a bit overrated. I mean, I can understand why people love it. Like, I can understand why a lot of people it's very close to the books. But for me, I just think there's still better yet to come. But yeah, I still think it's a good film, and I give it 8 out of 10.
Yeah, well, good. Well, me personally, I like the film. I think it's a solid Bond film. I don't know in comparison to Doctor No. I think I prefer Doctor No slightly more, but I mean, From Russia with Love definitely has its perks. I mean, I really like Connery. Again, he's very good. The plot is decent enough. I mean, it works, and it's fine. The locations this time around are much more diverse, whereas in the first one it was all Jamaica, underneath the mango tree.
Oh wait, I forgot to mention, why does a Bond theme start randomly playing when he's searching for bugs?
I put it down to a sloppy editing mistake.
I agree with that. I agree with that scene. I always thought that was kind of silly. That he's just looking around for bugs, and you hear da 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 da. It's like, what? Doesn't fit.
Calvin Dyson made a sketch about that, and that was quite funny.
Yeah, that was always kind of odd.
No, I boiled that down to a sloppy editing mistake. I think that was the editor's fault for maybe, just trying to build up tension in the wrong scene.
Didn't Peter Hunt edit the Bond films before on a Majesty's Secret Service? Like, apparently he edited the action scenes.
I think John Glenn edited some as well, so I think Peter Hunt probably would have edited this film, maybe.
Yeah, but sorry, back to what you were saying.
Yeah, no, I mean, I like From Russia with Love. I think the guy, I forget his name already, the guy who played Bond's ally, he was good. I find the movie to be a little bit slow. It's not the slowest Connery film ever. We'll get onto that later.
I agree, it is a bit slow, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind Tanya. She's okay. I mean, she's all right to look at. I mean, the scene when they're recording the sex tape or whatnot, and the dialogue is a bit it's a bit cheesy now, but I mean,
yeah.
I mean, when he's talking about like her tongue and whatnot, it's kind of
another one-liner. It's
Connery gets away with it. Connery gets away with it. If it was Brosnan, that would have been a different story. But
another one-liner. He's like, "Oh, I think my mouth is too big." No, it's big enough. For me, that is.
Yeah. I mean, anyway, the action scenes are great. I think the train fight is pretty cool. And the helicopter.
Train fight is classic. Fight is classic. That's one of the all-time great action scenes, in a Bond series. Yeah.
I mean, it's not my
that thing still stands up.
I do love it.
I do like the scene. I do like the scene leading up to the fight where it's just Bond and Grant basically trying to psych each other out. I think that's a great scene.
It keeps calling him old man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
great scene.
I love the fact
I like their dialogue.
I love the fact that in From Russia with Love we actually have a team of villains to make up for the lack of Dr. No in the previous film. The fact that we have a team of villains makes up for Dr. No's lack of screen time, I think, and I think all of them are pretty good. I mean, Blofeld, yeah, he doesn't really do much, but hey ho, we see him in You Only Live Twice anyway. And Rosa Klebb is quite cool. I love the fight at the end with the shoe. That's pretty cool. Red Grant is a good henchman. And Kronstein, yeah, he's okay in the scenes he's in. I mean, I don't like the title sequence very much, purely on the basis that you can't really see all of it. I mean, it's not.
Oh yeah, the belly dancer, yeah.
It's just a bit weirdly designed. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I love the music though. I think the music's fantastic, and I like that they saved the song to the end, the Matt Monro song. I quite like that. And Connery's like moving the tape around, and then he throws it in the river. It's quite a good ending. But
Yeah,
no,
very good.
for me, it's just not really a film that has anything standing out. I mean, I like it. I think it's good, but I agree with Jack. It's a little overrated, but I don't really appreciate it as much as you guys. But that's not to say that it's badly made. I think Terrence Young did a good job, and they all did really well. So yeah, I'd give it probably about a 7 or 7.5 out of 10. So now, Goldfinger.
Okay.
So, Alan,
Goldfinger.
Goldfinger.
Well, what needs to be said about it? It's a classic Bond film. I mean, it's a Bond film that needs no introduction, really. I mean, it's really exciting. It's fun. Connery's totally in his element in it. It's very nicely paced. It really moves along well. You got great villains. The Bond girls really good. It's got a lot of style and substance to it, and it's just a whole ton of fun. And I think that's the main reason why Goldfinger has endured as it has over the years. It's just a whole lot of fun, and it has a lot of great style to it, yeah, I mean, I don't place this one at number one like some other Bond fans do, but I mean, it's in my top 5. I put it number 5, and again, this is another Bond film that I think I would give like 9 out of 10. Although many would give it 10 out of 10. Although I did think there was a couple of issues with. For me, maybe it's just me, I don't know, but I had a couple of quirks about it regarding Odd Job and his bowler hat. I can't quite get over the fact that he can take off the head of a statue with his bowler hat, but then when he actually kills a person with the bowler hat, the person's head is not decapitated. I realize it was the mid '60s and they couldn't be graphic, but I just thought it was weird. He can decapitate a statue, but not a real person. That was kind of whack.
Tilly Masterton kind of gets, well, not decapitated, but she gets her pulse cut off by the hat when she dies. I guess.
Well, yeah, I mean, it snaps her neck, but I'm just saying. I mean, that thing can take off, the head of a statue, so it made sense that her head would come off. But again, this is the '60s, and they couldn't be graphic, and yeah, I understand why they did it, but that was just kind of odd for me. What else? And there's also, I also had kind of again, there was something I brought up in my review of the movie, like when they're at Fort Knox and Bond and Odd Job are fighting, and again, there's the thing with the bowler hat that I think there was one instance where
like how the thing passes through on the metal barriers and goes into the hat to make him get an electric shot. Like, how does the hat actually conduct electricity? It's a bit weird.
Yeah, that kind of thing. But other than that, I mean, of course, it's a bona fide Bond classic, and deserves all the praise that it gets.
Shirley Bassey song as well.
Classic Shirley Bassey song. I mean, you got the Aston Martin, that beautiful, beautiful car. Again, Connery's totally at the top of his game.
Two classic scenes. The Jill Masterton painted in gold and the laser scene.
Mm-hmm.
Also, they tried to replicate in the 40th anniversary.
Oh, God. Just do that. Oh, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Yeah, so see, Honor Blackman is Pussy Galore. She's great. I like her, and I like the fact that because it's implied that she's a lesbian, and when she says to Bond, "You can turn off the charm. I'm immune." But later on, they roll around the hay, and Bond converts her. That's
Well,
pretty
I
cool.
don't know.
I like that.
I think he converts her
They- they-
to a bisexual. I don't think that she
yeah.
becomes necessarily straight. I think it's a bit of bisexuality.
Yeah.
That's my verdict.
A man's so sexy he can convert lesbians. I like that.
Oh, man. Anyway,
Yeah,
so I mean, you've obviously given your rating of 9 out of 10. So are you
yeah,
sticking with that?
yeah. Yes, I do.
Jack?
Yeah, Goldfinger. I mean, I can understand the praise for this a lot. I mean, Goldfinger, it's definitely a classic, and I think it's Connery's best for me personally. It's just got everything in there. It's got that great title sequence and the song by Shirley Bassey. You got the laser scene. You expect me to talk? No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die. It's just classic moments, and the fight at Fort Knox, and there's just so many classic moments in this film. Tilly Masterson being painted in gold. Goldfinger is just such a great villain. I love Gert Frobe, and he was dubbed, but I really couldn't tell if he was dubbed.
Well, there was only
The
one
guy.
scene where you could tell. When Bond is sneaking around after he gets out of prison, there's Goldfinger's saying, how much gold have we got? And, there's a moment when the lip's out of sync. But apart from that, it's pretty fine.
Yeah, and also, I love, and of course the golf scene with the gold bar is absolutely great.
Oh, he's gone.
I heard somebody calling for him in the background. So
Yeah.
I'm back.
Um,
Yeah, but Connery, I think he gets his best performance, and it's a classic Bond film. The Aston Martin, fantastic. The DB5, you know, Bond's, essential car, and I give it 10 out of 10. Definitely masterpiece. Connery's best.
everything works. Yeah, well, I couldn't agree more. Goldfinger is a masterpiece. I can't deny. I mean, it's my favourite Connery film as well. It was actually the first Bond film that I saw, so I have a lot of sentimentality towards it. But yeah, no, I mean, I agree with you, Alan. I mean, apart from the little odd job, physics,
yeah.
it still doesn't stop me from thinking of this in so much high regard. It is a great film. I love it from beginning to end. I mean, okay, yeah, the scene when Connery slaps the woman's ass is a bit controversial, but I mean, but people have to understand.
For its time.
Yeah, for its time. Yeah, you have to understand that. But yeah, I think the music is fantastic as well. John Barry's score is superb, and Shirley Bassey's song is great. Great title sequence.
Yes.
Opening. Action is superb. I love the. I find it hilarious when you have the old woman with the machine gun trying to shoot Connery when he's driving the DB5. That was quite funny. Yeah, a bit silly, but I thought it was funny. Goldfinger is a great villain, and Odd Job. I think they're both great. Two of the best villains ever. Honor Blackman is Pussy Galore. She's also very good. Yeah, the scene in the barn was quite nice when he kind of converts her. I don't know whether to a bisexual or whether straight, but who knows? We'll leave that open to the Bond fans. Direction by Guy Hamilton is brilliant. I think he definitely kind of expands on what Terrence Young did in the first two films, and he gives it much more oomph. I mean, not that the first two were bad, but just there's so much more. I think there's a lot. I love the golf scene as well. I think that's a great scene too, and you can tell Goldfinger's getting increasingly pissed off during that.
Yeah. Can I also mention I really, really love how they designed the insides of Fort Knox. I thought that was really, really creative, really well done. I know they said they wanted, since nobody really knows what Fort Knox looks like on the inside, for obvious government reasons. They say they wanted to fashion a cathedral of gold for the inside of Fort Knox, and I think it really, really looks spectacular. All that beautiful gold on the inside. I just really like the whole design of it. Yeah, I just wanted to mention that.
Yeah, no, sorry if I interrupted you earlier, but
No, not at all.
yeah, no, I agree with you. The design is brilliant. I think it's improved on the first two films. I mean, the design of Dr. Nosley was quite good, but this is even better. I mean, I also love the Battle at Fort Knox as well. That's very entertaining. And and obviously the climax when in the plane when Goldfinger gets sucked out of the window. That's quite entertaining. Yeah, it is just a classic. And if you're going to start with any of the Bond films, I'd recommend possibly starting with this one. It is where I started. So, I mean, at the time I wasn't a major fan, but I watched it when I was younger and I thought, wow, this is really good. I mean, it is brilliant. So 10 out of 10, no question about it. Now we get to a bit of a controversy.
Oh boy!
Because
oh boy! Oh boy!
yeah. Thunderball. Now
here it comes. Here it comes.
I will try my best not to get into an argument with you, Alan, but I'm going to let you kick this one off, Alan, because you love this film, so you can go ahead.
Well, it might be better for you guys to start. Let's face it. I know you guys hate Thunderball, so maybe you should start, and then I'll come in at the end singing its praises.
Yeah. Well, I don't know where the hell Jack's gone, so I'll start. Basically, with the greatest respect, Alan, for me, I don't like Thunderball. It's not the fact that it's a badly made film. I think, everything that they did, they tried, but for me, it was a problem in post-production. It was the fact that the editing was terrible. It was so badly paced. I mean, no disrespect. I mean, sometimes a slower.
Go ahead.
But in this case, for me, it didn't. I just couldn't get into it. I mean, I just thought, I don't know. I mean, you have to sit through my review, so I'm not going to dwell on this too long. But I just thought there were so many elements that didn't work. I mean, Connery gave a so-so performance. Some bit of good, bit of bad. I didn't particularly like the opening. Didn't really like the underwater fights. Didn't really like Largo. I just thought it was really uninteresting. But that was really all I have to say. I mean, I'm not going to dwell on it too longer. I rated it 3 out of 10, and I'm probably going to stick with that. I do like Domino. Domino was really cool. I really like Domino, and she's good to look at. But for me, it was kind of dull, and it was a big step down after Goldfinger. But yeah, sorry, I'm not going to rant. I did that in the review. So, Alan, you are free to praise the movie all you like now.
Okay, well, I mean, I have the flip side experience with Thunderball because it's my personal favorite Bond movie. Let's see. Oh, Jack's back.
Yeah.
Jack, okay. Okay. You can go next, Jack. You can go ahead and tell us what you think of Thunderball. I know what you think of it, but go ahead. Go ahead. Fire away.
Use it again.
Well, I know this sounds favorite. Well, I mean, for me, it kind of feels like
parody.
It feels like a step back after Goldfinger. I mean, after the 3 amazing Bond films, I thought Goldfinger is where they perfected the formula. And for me, Thunderball, it's not a badly made film. It's actually it's a well-made film. But my problem with it is just some of the pacing. I mean, Connery, this is where I think his performance starts to slip. I mean, he's not bad here, but after Goldfinger, he just seems a bit so. He just, he's not terrible. He's not I just think he's kind of a bit. He's just meh in this film. There are some really great scenes, but some scenes he looks a little bit bored. But
I will say that the soundtrack is really good.
Yeah, the soundtrack is good. I mean, there are positives I like Fiona Volpe. I think she's great. I mean, she's sexy. She's great. I love the scene with Connery. She's like, "Oh, can you give me something to wear?" And he hands her the shoes. And he's like, "Oh, He's like, "Do you like wild things, Mr. Bond? Or you should be locked up in a cage?" There are. I mean, but for me, it's just. I think it's a bit overrated for me. I mean, I know Alan loves it, and I can see why he loves it. I mean, but for me, it just after Goldfinger, it's just a bit slow. Like the end underwater fight, for me, it just dragged and it dragged and they're playing, the they're playing that really fast-paced music when all the slow action is going on. And I thought Largo's death was just a bit anticlimactic. He just got shot in the back and he fell over. And Largo himself, I didn't think was a great villain. I mean, the whole eye patch thing, I just thought was kind of a stereotype of what a villain should look like. Just kind of a stereotype.
Oh, I'm a pirate. Sorry, couldn't resist.
But I mean, the final fight on the Disco Volante, it's really they just sped up the footage and it looks a bit like a Mickey Mouse cartoon. But
The one
and
where he's whistling on the boat.
yeah, I mean Domino, she's sexy, but I just thought she was just kind of a rip off of Honey Rider. The way she's looking for shells, the way she's swimming for shells. But I mean, and the plot, the whole nuclear bomb thing, I thought it was okay, but I mean, for me, I mean, Terrence Young, I think's a good director. I mean, the first two he directed, you could let off Doctor No because it was the first Bond film, but this film, it just felt like a step back because I thought Goldfinger's where they perfected the formula, and this, it just it feels like a film before Goldfinger came out. It felt like it was made before Goldfinger because it's a lot slower paced, and like I said, the underwater fight scenes. For me, it just drags. I mean,
And
I
don't
don't
forget
hate.
the jetpack.
Yeah, the jetpack. I mean, I didn't like that pre-opening
Sorry,
time.
Adam.
I like the jetpack, but all right, fine.
I mean, it's just. I don't hate the film. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I don't think it's a well-made film. It's not a badly made film. It's just the pacing. You could tighten up and. For me, it's Connery's worst, personally. I mean, I know it's going to be a shock,
Sorry,
but
Alan.
All right, it's all right.
I have to agree with
I
Jack.
mean, I mean, I just think you could tighten it up a bit, and I just thought it was just a big step down after Goldfinger for me personally. But hey ho, opinions. Everybody has their opinions, so I'm gonna let Alan speak now. So I give it probably. I know I'm gonna get. Oh God, I know Alan's gonna be pissed off, but I'm
Go
gonna
ahead.
have to. I'm gonna have to give it a 3 out of 10.
I gave it the same. Although I do love the Tom Jones song, Alan. I'll say that. I love the
The
Tom.
title, actually, the title
Yeah,
sequence I love. The
Tom
title sequence,
Jones. Tom Jones. Yeah.
I
Mm.
think the title sequence though was great. Well, I mean, I put it over all the Brosnan films, so it's not that.
Alan, now you can unleash the joy of your opinions.
Okay, yeah, okay. Well, like I said, my take on the movie is completely different from yours, guys. It's my favorite Bond movie. It's my favorite Connery movie. It's my favorite Bond movie, and I hope that doesn't make me weird. I mean, I know there are some other Bond fans out there who like Thunderball. Like I said, if you look at either branch of Amazon.com, the US or the UK branch, the movie does have its share of fans, so I know I'm not alone on this one. But yeah, I know that it's not for everybody. I mean, they certainly piled on more gadgets into Thunderball, and that's kind of a turnoff for some people. And I know the underwater action stuff doesn't appeal to everybody because some people think it's too slow, as you two think it is. But I don't know. What could I say? I mean, this is the Bond movie that I like the best. And as regarding the underwater stuff, I think it's just because I have definitely affection for any kind of footage about under the sea footage. Which is not to say which is not to say that I'm guaranteed to like any and all movies that have underwater footage in them, but I personally like what they did in Thunderball, and I thought the action scenes, for what they are underwater, I thought that they worked really well. I also liked John Barry's score during the underwater scenes. I thought his score helped move them along.
It was very dramatic.
Um, like that whole bit where after the plane has crashed into the sea, and then the pilot gets betrayed by Largo and his henchmen, and then we get the scene where they cover the plane with the camouflage net, and they're working. We see them working under the sea. Now, I know for some people that scene may drag on way too long, but for me, I thought it was pretty fascinating stuff. And again, I like John Barry's music that accompanies the scene. So I personally admire all the underwater action, and I do like the big underwater fight at the end of the movie. So all the underwater stuff that doesn't bother me in the slightest. And actually, I actually had the polar opposite reaction from you guys, that I found it quite exciting. I also like, maybe another reason I like Thunderball is it's kind of an underdog Bond movie, and I'm always championing any kind of underdog that I see. Yeah, and I also approached the movie with the feeling that it took them the first 3 movies to work out what the Bond formula was going to be, and that includes up to Goldfinger. Once they got to Goldfinger, they realized, okay, now we've got the Bond formula. Now we know how to make a definitive Bond movie. We've got all the elements in place now. And for me, Thunderball was the first movie to benefit from that. This is the movie that knows exactly what the Bond formula is going to be, and for me, it was the first Bond film to benefit from all that preliminary work done with the first 3 up to Goldfinger. I think Connery is terrific in it, and obviously he liked making Thunderball enough that he came back to do You Only Live Twice, and we all know what happened with that one, which we'll get to in a moment. But I really like Connery's performance in this as well. I do like the gadgets. The jetpack may be silly to some people, but I still think it's funny. Even though I know there is one criticism that of the jetpack, that there's no way that Connery would be able to put the jetpack in the trunk of the car, because the engines on the jetpack would be like steaming hot. It would be like really, really hot. He would not be able to stick the jetpack in the trunk with the engine still hot on it. That's one thing people point out about the jetpack. But I think the jetpack for that opening scene is fun. I like the little breathing underwater apparatus, and I like all the underwater gear that they use in the movie. I just think it's real fascinating stuff. I think the movie has my personal choice for the best set of Bond girls, and there's like 4 of them, and I like all 4 of them. Claudine Auger as Domino is my all-time favorite Bond girl. She's drop dead gorgeous. I like her chemistry with Connery in this one as well. Let's see. Then you've got Fiona Volpe. Yeah, Luciana Paluzzi as Fiona Volpe. I think she's a terrific villainess.
Alan,
I like her a
female
lot.
Bond villain.
Yeah, the Bond. Yeah, she's one of the villains, but I still think she's a terrific Bond girl, and I kind of like the way Bond finally dispatches her at the dance club, and she takes the bullet in the back. I thought that was,
actually, I love Connery's.
Yeah.
I love Connery's one-liner there. Can my friend sit this one out? She's just dead. I love that line.
Oh yeah, and he says to her, I've grown accustomed to your face. Yeah, I like that. And then you've got the other 2 Bond girls who are, I guess, in smaller parts. You've got the nurse at the spa. I like her, and I like how Bond seduces her at the spa, and then he's giving her a massage, and I thought that was really good. And then there's the other Bond girl that I guess Martine Bestwick plays. Bond's aide, I guess, in the Bahamas or whatever. She's the one who ultimately has to take the cyanide capsule. But I really think all the Bond girls are great in the movie. I personally like Largo. You can say what you want about the eye patch, but I personally do like Largo a lot. I don't know if I could put him as the best villain, but I'll put him personally as one of the best villains. I mean, I just like him. You know, eye
You like the
patch and
fact
all.
that
I still
Spectre
think.
are in the film as well.
Sorry.
You like the fact that Spectre appear in the film as well, like that meeting scene.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. And then somebody at the meeting gets fried literally fried in the chair for embezzlement. Yeah, I thought that was a lot of fun. that puts a smile to my face. You know, I like the direction of it. I mean, I admit, okay, so they did some editing that some people might have a problem with. I mean, okay, yeah, as Jack pointed out, there's some scenes that look like it's speeded up, and I know that there's some parts like in the underwater battle where they reuse this one shot of Connery looking at the action. You know, there's one particular shot of Connery that they reuse more than once. But that's okay. That's okay. I mean, I still think that final underwater battle is done really well. I like the scene where Connery's under the water with the shark. That's pretty tension filled, and I know Connery was pretty uncomfortable doing that, but I'm glad that he did it. And I like all the locales that are in the movie. I think I mentioned this. I like John Barry's score for the movie a whole lot. I like the scene where Bond's being hunted down by Volp and her henchmen. You know, where he's Bond has to run into the carnival or the Mardi Gras, whatever it is.
Yeah.
To try to escape them, right? Yeah, where he's shot in the leg and he has to try to escape them. I thought that scene was done well. So, let's see. Am I leaving anything out?
Tom Jones song?
Oh yes, by Tom Jones, and I'm a big Tom Jones fan. But actually, I've seen him in concert twice over here, so I like his singing voice a lot. I've got like 2 or 3 of his albums. Don't have everything he's ever done, but I do think he's a terrific singer, and he's still a great entertainer, you know. And the women are still throwing their panties at him. I've seen it with my own 2 eyes. Even at his age, I think he's early 70s now. But yeah, the women are still throwing their panties at him. It's a great Bond theme, no question about it. Personally, I like the script for the movie as well. I think it's a good, solid script. So I know it's not a Bond movie that all the fans dig. I mean, some people just can't get into it, but all I know is that, you know, I remember that very first time that I saw Thunderball, when I rented it on video cassette many years ago, and I just remember how thrilled I was by it when I first saw it, and it still thrills me. I mean, I still think it's a total package, even though it gets its share of criticism, but I still think it's a terrific Bond film, at least for me anyway. It's a terrific Bond film, and for me, you know, as crazy as it sounds, it's the Bond movie that gives me the most pleasure. You know, underwater sequences and all. I just dig the whole thing all the way around, and for me, it's my favorite Connery movie and my favorite Bond film overall. And yeah, I personally give it a solid 10 out of 10. So
fair enough.
I really love Thunderball. What can I say? I just do. So there you go.
Do you own them on DVD or do you own them on Blu-ray?
I have it on DVD. I have the standard edition, but I have it remastered. I also have the previous DVD edition, which actually, even though the picture may not look as great, it has this terrific documentary on it, which the remastered DVD does not have. You know, a documentary about the making of Thunderball, and you know, so I still have that old version on DVD as well. Actually, I've got the previous versions of the Bond movies on DVD. You know, a lot of them, because I didn't want to throw out those really cool documentaries about the making of the movie. Whereas the remastered DVDs, basically all you have.
Thunderball, I will say, it looks pretty stunning on Blu-ray in high definition. I mean, it looks as if it was shot recently, which is quite impressive, considering it's nearly 50 years old. So, yeah, I just wanted to point that out to you. I mean, when I watched it last time, I thought, well, at least it looks good. I mean, it's a really visually stunning film. I'll give it that. But
yeah, it's not a it's a well-made film, but for me, there's just some pacing issues.
For me, it
But
was far too slow. It felt
yeah,
like a director's cut.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
they're right. Let's move
there
on.
could be some. Okay, I dig it.
Sorry.
I dig it. I love Thunderball. So
fair
there you
enough.
go.
Did you want to say one more thing before we move on?
That's it.
Okay. So, You Only Live Twice, Connery's first official exit. So, Jack, do you want to kick us off? You only live
Yeah, you only live twice. I mean, it's
well, do you really?
uh, an improvement over Thunderball. I mean, don't get me wrong. I kind of like this film, but there are some problems. I mean, it has the same problems with Thunderball for me. I mean, it's not as slow as Thunderball, but it is like the first hour of it is quite slow. I mean, this is where a lot of people say the campiness started with Roger Moore. I'm sorry, but it started with this film. I mean, Little Nelly was just a terrible gadget. I mean, like even Tiger Tanaka said, uh, even he said it's like a toy helicopter. I mean, Connery in this film. I mean, I'm sorry, but he's really fucking bored. I mean, Connery gives.
Probably why they killed him at the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, the pre-opening title sequence. I mean, you had Bond dying in From Russia with Love, and then you had JB in the coffin and Thunderball. It's just like, come on, you're just forcing it in there, and but the song I do like, "You Only Live Twice" by Nancy Sinatra. That I love that song. I think it's beautiful. I know you think it's a bit overrated, but for me, I just love that song. I always, that's that's one of my favorite Bond songs, and the title sequence is great as well. But Connery he's fucking bored in this film. I mean, Connery. For me, I think he gives a terrible performance. I know he had some problems with Harry Saltzman and and all that, but he's just I just feel like he could have put a bit more into it, and I think this is where the camp really began. You had Japanese Connery. I was
Oh,
just like,
God.
God's sake. I mean, like I was watching. I was watching it with my dad not that long ago, and when the Japanese Connery, it's just like, oh, he looks the same, and it's just like, it's like they make it out to be this really delicate operation, like, oh, we're gonna make him Japanese, but they just stick a really crappy wig on him and his fake eyebrows, and Donald Pleasance, the first reveal of Blofeld, Donald Pleasance, I'm sorry, but oh, he's just terrible as Blofeld. I mean, it's just for me, he's so wooden. It's like, oh, you only live twice, Mr. Bond. I mean,
He looks good though for the
yeah, he
role.
looks cool. I'll give you that. I mean, the scar on his face and and the white cat and the tan suit, that's cool. But Donald Pleasance, he didn't do it for me. He's very wooden, very emotionless, and Blofeld.
He's introduced very late as well.
Yeah, exactly. Like Doctor No, they introduced him. Like Doctor No, they introduced him far too late. But my problem with him is he's just the Blofeld in the other films. He had a much more dark voice. Donald Pleasance just and Connery. It's like, oh, this is my second life. You're just like, Connery. He's just not bothering in this film. The Bond girls, Aki and Kissy. I mean, they're attractive, but they just don't do anything. They're just the same character. It's hard to distinguish which one is which. They're just the same person, and I mean, and the whole plot. I mean, people complain about Moonraker. Roger Moore, going to space. If Blofeld didn't stop Connery from getting on that rocket, Connery would have been the first Bond in space. He would have been the first Bond in space, and
Yeah,
we
I agree.
yeah, and we have this this spaceship swallowing thing. I mean the plot it's okay, but I mean I think it's kind of like a documentary. It's kind of like, oh,
I agree.
it's like we're going to Japan. we're going to show all these establishing shots of Japan. You know, I mean, it's just, I mean, Connery, he's rubbish, and the film itself.
He gets married as well.
Yeah. Actually, this is the first Bond film where he gets married. It's just very lazy to me. It's just like it's just. I mean, it's better than Thunderball for me personally. I mean, because it goes. I mean, I do like them going to Japan, and I do think it. You know, I do love the final fight in the volcano layer, but it's just. It's just a bit. You know, Donald Pleasance is rubbish as Blofeld, and Connery
At least the ninjas in this film made sense. I like License to Kill.
Yeah, I mean, Connery, he's just, you know, he's just bored out of his mind, and this is where, you know, and I just think overall, You Only Live Twice. I mean, it's not a terrible Bond film. Don't get me wrong. It's not. I wouldn't put it like. I wouldn't say it's the worst Bond film. I mean, there are parts of it I like. I mean, I think it's okay. You know, it's all right. I mean, I kind of like it. I mean, I don't hate You Only Live Twice. It's just, you know, there are a lot of problems with it. I mean, you know, it's just the campiness really started here. We had Japanese Connery, you know, and
don't forget Lewis Gilbert is the new director as well.
Yeah, Lewis Gilbert, and I don't, you know, I think he works better with the man after the other fella, but you know, it's just, you know, I mean, I'm glad kind of this wasn't Connery's send off because it would be a really disappointing send off, to be honest. And Connery's just he does give his worst performance, so I'm gonna give You Only Live Twice a 5 out of 10. Yeah.
Fair enough. Alan, what's your verdict on You Only Live Twice?
It's a decent Bond movie, but at the same time, there's really nothing special about it either. I mean, I give it a passing grade. I think I'd give it a 6 out of 10 on my chart. I agree with you. Connery's just totally bored. You can especially tell that he's bored during the scene where he's flying Little Nelly. It's like he's just sitting there. He has no enthusiasm.
Oh yeah.
That's one scene.
Probably the worst action scene in a Bond film, or one of the worst.
Yeah, it's just kind of meh. It just kind of lies there on the screen, really. But to me, there's really nothing particularly special about it. To me, it's just kind of a run-of-the-mill Bond movie. Okay, here's Bond going on another mission. Although I do like the Japanese locales, I'll give it that. You know, the locales are really good. I agree with you. The scene where Bond has to turn Japanese and marry him off to one of the girls is kind of silly, because why does he need to go through a whole ceremony? You know, they just stick on the wig. You know, they can alter his eyes and just be done with it. But he doesn't have to get married and go through a whole ceremony. Yeah, that's kind of silly to me. Yeah, you can tell Connery clearly doesn't want to be there. The Bond girls, they're okay, but you know, I mean, they're pretty, but they don't do all that much for me, and I think they have zero chemistry with Connery. I mean, there's just no chemistry. I mean, either of them. They don't seem to have any chemistry with Connery at all. Donald Pleasance is not a great Blofeld, especially when we heard Blofeld's voice in the previous Bond films, but didn't actually see his face. His voice had a lot more menace. You know, had a much more menacing voice, and then we finally see Donald Pleasance, and he's just this little man who has this very wimpy kind of voice. You know, so that doesn't match. And of course, as we all know now, you know, Mike Myers, you know, Dr. Evil is a total parody of Donald Pleasance's version of Blofeld. Yeah, total. Yeah. So if Blofeld is to come back in the brand new Bond movie, I hope that he can't possibly be as Donald Pleasance appeared in You Only Live Twice. You know, bald and the scar, and he's petting the cat. That version of Blofeld, you know, I think is done. So I'm just saying, if Blofeld comes back in the brand new movie, I hope it's a completely reimagined version of Blofeld. But yeah, the Donald Pleasance version of Blofeld, I mean, just doesn't work for me. Even though Pleasance was certainly a good actor, but I just think that his Blofeld, he's not menacing enough.
He
Yeah,
He's
doesn't
just
really
not menacing
try.
enough.
one more other thing that doesn't match up. If you look at Thunderball, you know when Blofeld behind the curtains. If you look closely, Blofeld has hair. He has like this like grey white kind of hair. If you look closely in Thunderball at that meeting
Yeah.
scene, he has hair. So that doesn't match up
hmm
either.
Jack, people have haircuts though.
No, I know that, but I mean,
Yeah.
in Thunderball, he clearly had like the hair. I mean, it's just a bit weird that
Oh,
like what?
I just thought of something. I do know that Pleasance was a last minute replacement for another actor. They did cast another actor as Blofeld, and the previous actor who was going to do Blofeld did have hair. I don't remember the name of the actor, but I remember seeing photos of the original actor that they cast as Blofeld, and he did have hair. He also had a mustache and beard, but I think ultimately the producers didn't like him, and so they fired him, and Donald Pleasance was brought in as like a last minute replacement. Um, for the part of Blofeld. But you're absolutely right. You know that yeah not only does the voice not match, but the hair doesn't match. Yeah. So yeah, well spotted. Well spotted, Jack. Yeah.
Mm.
I do think the theme song though by Nancy Sinatra is a great theme song. I
Yeah.
just like that whole da-na-na-na-na-na,
Tom Barry's score, don't
da-na-na-na.
forget that.
It's one of my favorite Bond themes, so I'll
Roald,
give it that.
Roald Dahl also did the screenplay, didn't he?
Yeah,
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of an odd choice to write a Bond script, I have to admit.
You only live twice, Mr. Bond. Yeah, that was from Roald Dahl.
Yeah, but the guy you described as being the original Blofeld, he sounds more like Hugo Drax than Blofeld because he had a beard and a mustache and hair and stuff.
Yeah,
So
he kind of looked like an older Hugo Drax. I think so. Yeah, I think his beard and mustache was gray, if I remember the photographs that I saw of this guy. Yeah, again, I don't remember the name of the actor, but yeah, he did have hair, he did have mustache and beard, but yeah, he was fired at the last minute for some reason. They just didn't think that he was convincing enough, and so they brought in Donald Pleasance.
Oh
So
yeah,
there
great
there
to
you
see
go.
that. Yeah.
But you know, it's okay. I mean, I do think that final action scene on the volcano volcano base is pretty cool. I mean, the volcano base itself is pretty impressive. I mean, you can totally see where all the money went in that volcano base. So that part of it, I can admire. I mean, the scope of the movie is impressive. I'll give it that.
yeah,
But again, there's just nothing particularly special about it. It's just kind of a run-of-the-mill adventure, and Connery's totally not into it. But I mean, it's entertaining enough. I mean, it's entertaining enough for me to give it a passing grade. You know,
same.
I give it a 6 out of 10. But it's not Connery's finest hour as Bond, definitely. If in fact, if I had to, yeah, I mean, it's not my least favorite of the Connerys. We're coming up to that shortly, but it's not Connery's finest hour as Bond, but it's entertaining enough. So I think that's my final verdict on it.
Fair enough. Well, I pretty much agree with you both. I mean, You Only Live Twice is all right. I mean, you can tell that the budget was well spent. I mean, Japan it is a visually stunning Bond film. Even now, I agree.
I think they went there because the first four Bond films had got a lot of critical interest in Japan, and a lot of Japanese people were really interested in the first four Bond films. So I think that's the reason why they went to Japan and You Only Live Twice.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad they did. I mean, it definitely shows that it was worth it. I mean, I do agree. It is a bit of a silly film in certain aspects. I think that Lewis Gilbert didn't really maintain the kind of the formula that was established in Goldfinger. I think they kind of lost their way a little bit. I mean, it's not a terrible film per se, but like I mean, Connery looks bored to crap, and that doesn't really help. We can't really. He's kind of unlikable in this film. It's a bit of a shame, to be honest. I mean, when he's flirting with all these women, you know, he's like, oh yes, yes, like he's so bored, you don't really believe him, and you know,
Yeah.
I would say though, I mean, it's weird because this movie has kind of a beauty about it. I mean, with the score, and I mean, I think this is one of John Barry's best scores. It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, like the scenes in Japan when Connery's, hiding away, whilst they're kind of slow and they're kind of documentary-esque, but the music is really nice. The da 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 da. I mean, I'm not a massive fan of the song, but I don't mind it. I think it's pretty good, but I don't think it's one of the best. I mean, but yeah, action scenes. Like I wouldn't normally critique this, but I don't really think that there's enough action in the film, or at least there's not much action in the middle. I think there is beginning. I think they save most of the action to the end, which I don't really mind, but I feel that the middle is the pacing's a little bit off. I mean, Japanese Connery, just what the hell? I mean, I don't know what the makeup team were thinking when they were doing that. I mean, and yeah, I agree with Alan. Bond was hiding away. You could disguise him, but you don't have to get him to marry somebody, because when you watch Secret Service afterwards, you'd be thinking, hang on, Bond got married in the previous film, so doesn't that make him a bit of a bigamist or something? But no, I mean, different cultures, different rules. But yeah,
Bond's a Mormon.
yeah. I don't know what else to say about that. I think the Bond girls are pretty crap, to be honest. I mean, I don't really like Aki or Kissy. I mean, to be honest, I can't tell one from the other. I mean, when one of them died, I was like, hang on, is that Aki or Kissy? But no, I think it was Aki. But yeah, no. Whilst, okay, I guess they've got nice bodies, but I'm not really as attracted to them as you guys are. But I mean,
I do think some. I do think some Japanese women are indeed very, very beautiful, but these two are not really the greatest looking. Even though they stick one of them in a bikini and she's okay, but not the greatest looking Japanese women.
Yeah, there are some really fit Japanese women.
Well, I'll say, I mean, at least they smile in the film, unlike Sean Connery.
Just a
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's that.
I agree.
Line when he's like, "Oh, we've got to go on a honeymoon" and all that. Just like, yeah, you sound really excited about that, Connery.
Yeah. I do like his contact in Japan. Was it Tanaka? Is that his name? Tanaka.
Yeah.
He was pretty cool,
even though. Yeah, even though one of my favorite lines of his is kind of a sexist thing, but I like what he says. We have a saying in Japan, Bond: "Man first, woman second." I've always liked that line, even though it's kind of sexist. I know, but still, it's one of my favorite lines from the movie.
Connery, I think I might just.
Connery.
Connor, I think I might just retire to here.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh God.
So I liked him. Tanaka was good. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he was alright. I mean, he had some good stuff to do. I mean, I think this movie is purely great to watch, even just for scope and spectacle.
Yeah, it's good to watch for nice locations.
But I think structurally it kind of falls flat. One minute it's trying to be a really kind of beautiful documentary. The next minute it's trying to be this big, spectacular action adventure. I don't quite know if Lewis Gilbert quite defined the tone of this movie. I mean, it's not like, Totally Confused. I mean, it knows what it wants to be, but I feel like it's trying to do two different things. And I feel that Donald Pleasance is also crap. I'm sorry, but I mean, I think he's the worst of the three main Blofelds that we screen for.
I agree.
I mean, whilst he looks pretty cool, his delivery is so bland. It's like, "Oh, you only live twice, Mr. Bond." And then, even the cat runs away at the end because he's so bad, feel sorry for the cat. Yeah. God.
He's too cartoonish. He's too much of a cartoon character.
Just stereotypically
convincing villain.
And I agree, cartoonish. But I mean, for me, it's an improvement over Thunderball in the sense of that the pacing is a bit better. Whilst it's not brilliantly paced, it is paced better than Thunderball. I mean. But yeah, no character development whatsoever. Really, it's just a bit lackluster, really. I think that's the main problem. But the highlights are the score, the title sequence. Alright, fine, the song. I'm not a big fan of it. I hate the opening sequence. I think it's probably the worst of the series. I mean, or one of the worst.
I think Thunderball, well, for me, is the worst. But actually, maybe one of the Brosnan ones. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. But it's just like it was just kind of really sloppy the way that it was done. There was no tension within the opening. It was just like Bond was in bed and then boom, the bed goes up and shoot bang. It was. I was just like, oh well, he's dead. Okay, see you for the next film.
Hmm.
But no, I mean, to sum it up quickly, as a final verdict, I mean, it's an okay film. It really doesn't have much standing out. At one point, my uncle told me this was his favourite Bond film, which I found quite hard to believe, but I think he prefers Unmajesty Secret Service now. But yeah, and Connery, if Connery had left in this film, then it would have been pretty bad, to be honest. But hey ho, I agree with Jack. I think it's a 5 out of 10. There are worse Bond films, but it is not the best by any means.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So this was Connery's exit for now.
Should we mention? Should we
For
mention?
now.
Should we mention the one Lazenby film in this? I mean, I don't know how we're going to do a whole reflection on Lazenby if he's only done one
To be
film.
honest,
But we can throw it in if you want to.
no, let us just skip to Diamonds Are Forever because this is just the Connery hangout. So
Fair enough.
right,
Okay.
who wants to go first? Diamonds Are Forever.
Can I go first?
Yeah, sure. If Alan doesn't mind.
No, not at all.
I really love Diamonds Are Forever. I mean, for me, this was the first Bond film that I ever saw when I was 5 years old. This was the first Bond film I saw on the TV. And I don't remember much from then, but the scene I always remember is when Bond is in the coffin and he's about to be burnt by, the coffin's about to be cremated by Winton Kidd. And I always remember that scene. For me, Diamonds Are Forever is one of Connery's best. I mean, what I like about this film, for me personally, is that it's trying to be something different. I mean, with things like, You Only Live Twice, and, I just felt like, it was getting a bit tired. I mean, why I think it's one of Connery's best is because it's just, it knows what it wants to be. It wants to be a bit of fun. It just wants to be, it just wants to be a fun romp, and that's what I love about it. I mean, I love the car chase in Las Vegas. I think that's great. Charles Gray as Blofeld. I really love him. I think he's my favorite Blofeld. I mean, I really do love Charles Gray as Blofeld. When he turns around, he's like, "Good evening, Mr. Bond." So, I love him. And I mean, Connery, I have to say, though, he's not that great in this film. I mean, he's better than You Only Live Twice, but he's just, he only really came back for the money, and you can tell that. And Connery, he's really old looking in this film. He's really old in
And
this
he's only,
film.
42, isn't he?
Yeah, he's only like 40. Yeah, I think he's like 40 or something in this film. And
He looks
It
old.
looks like he's put on some weight.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, especially the scene where, he's with Tiffany and he turns off the light. You can tell he's put on weight. But I mean, his hair, he looks really old as well. And not only that, but is it just me, or does his eyebrows look bigger than the other ones? Like, his eyebrows look a lot
Kinda.
thicker. Because I heard somewhere that in the early Bond films they plucked his eyebrows because he had very, big eyebrows. But his eyebrows look huge. I mean, for me personally, Connery, he's worse looking here than Roger Moore in A View to a Kill. I'm sorry, but I mean, I know he's only in his 40s, but
I have to agree with that.
but he looks older than Roger Moore in A View to a Kill. And, Connery, his performance, it's kind of so-so. It's kind of like, some scenes he's good, some scenes he's bored. He's just really
say
bad.
he's better than he is in Thunderball.
I don't know, actually. I think it's kind of on par with his performance in Thunderball, but
About the same.
yeah. But the pre-opening title sequence, I do like, where he's going around after everybody. He's just like, there's something I'd like you to get off your chest, like that. And, he's just like, one chance. Where can I find him? And I do like Blofeld.
Imagine George Lazenby doing that.
I mean, I did like when he.
Get up your chest. Whoa.
I mean, I did like it when Connery, he threw Blofeld in the curry sauce. That was, he threw him in the curry sauce, whatever it was. And it was like, but I mean, Tiffany as a Bond girl. I mean, the villains, Winton Kidd. I do like Winton Kidd. I kind of like the fact that they're gay assassins, and I like I really do like the way he walks off with Wint and Kid holding their hands, and Tiffany I think's a great Bond girl for me. I know some people don't think she's that good, but I like her. I just think she's ballsy. She's cocky. She's like, keep leaning on that tutor, Charlie, and blow up your pants. And she's like, a lot of people say like she's dopey, she's a klutz, but I mean the scene where she gets Bond's glass and she's looking for the fingerprint, I like that, and Peter Franks, and I love the lift scene, and I love
You
Bond
just Bond.
in Las Vegas, and I think it's a great Bond film. I just like it because it's trying to be something different, and it knows what it wants to be. It's just a fun, light-hearted adventure. Connery, not as great as performance, but I did like Tiffany Case. I mean, the final rig scene, the oil rig scene, it's a bit anticlimactic, but I did like Winton Kid appearing at the end, and then Connor's like, well, he certainly left. I mean, I think Connery has some really good one-liners in this. I think he has some of his best. Well, he certainly left with his tail between his legs, and I like the moon buggy chase. I mean, it's not great, but I do like it. But I also like the diamond, the diamonds in the satellite. I like that plot, the whole like the space laser, and I like Jimmy Dean as Willard White. It's a joke on Howard Hughes, Willard White. But overall, Diamonds Are Forever. I think I'd give it an 8 out of 10. I really do enjoy it. It's just a fun romp. It knows
the song and the title sequence and the music.
Oh yes, yeah, the title sequence I love, great. The song "Diamonds Are Forever" by Shirley Bassey, classic, love that. The soundtrack I do like as well, like the dun 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 dun. I love the I just think it's a great and I love the dun na 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 na. I just think it's a great Bond film for me. It's just a fun adventure, fun romp. It's trying to be something different, and I admire it for that. But yeah, I give it an 8 out of 10.
Fair enough. Alan, what do you think of Diamonds Are Forever?
Okay, well, Jack, I totally respect your opinion, brother, but yeah, I have to say this is probably my least favorite of the Connery movies. To me, yeah, it's okay. It's mediocre to me. I mean, well, first of all, as you pointed out, I mean, Connery looks older in this one, and he looks like he's kind of put on weight. I mean, even though it's nice that he's back, it's nice that he came back to do one more, but he doesn't look the greatest, I have to admit, and yes, you're right. He only came back for the money, really, because I mean George Lazenby didn't work out, and so the movie studio really wanted Connery back, and they basically made Connery an offer he couldn't refuse. So
yeah,
so he came back.
How much was he offered actually? He was offered like billions, wasn't he?
Well, in 1971, I mean, he was offered, I think, $1.25 million, which these days is no big deal at all. But in 1971, that was a really big deal. And also, they offered him, I think, like a really large percentage of the profits on the movie, and also they offered to finance a couple of movies of his choice, whatever he wanted to do. That they would let him do it. So they basically gave him a really sweet, package deal to come back as James Bond. But I mean, to Connery's credit, I mean, he donated the money to charity, to one of his Scottish charities. I know, so that was another motivation in him agreeing to come back for the movie. But yeah, it was pretty much because that the movie studio made him an offer he couldn't refuse, really, not because he really wanted to come back to play Bond. But on the one hand, okay, yeah, it's nice that he came back, but yeah, he's definitely older in this one. But as to the movie itself, I mean, I kind of stick to my guns about Diamonds Are Forever, that it probably would have worked better with Roger Moore rather than Connery, because they do amp up the comedy in this one.
Well, anyone would Lazenby.
God, George.
Yeah, Lazenby, yeah, I don't think Lazenby would have worked in this one either. No, but Roger Moore, if you put Roger Moore in Diamonds Are Forever, it probably would have worked better. It seems to suit Roger Moore's style. a bit better.
Hmm.
But putting Connery in this movie, where the comedy is more amped up. I mean, to me, it didn't quite work really. Connery kind of looks out of place in this one. Regarding Tiffany Case, I mean, she's beautiful. I love looking at her in the bikini. She looks great in the bikini.
Yeah.
But she's. But I don't know. The character seems pretty underdeveloped. I don't know. To me, she just doesn't have much character, and she doesn't seem to be particularly bright. And then later on, when they're doing the final battle on the oil rig, and she's trying to fire the machine gun, and she can't look as she's firing the bullets, and then she falls over the side. Yeah, yeah. So she looks great, I'll admit, but not one of my favorite Bond girls.
Doing a bit more cheek.
Yeah, a little more cheek. Yeah, let's see. Charles Gray as Blofeld. Well, when it comes to the Blofelds, I prefer Telly Savalas. I think Telly Savalas, for me, was far and away the best of the three Blofelds.
I kind of see him as Kojak, though. That's why he's not like.
Some do. but what I do like about Savalas is that he took the role seriously, I think, whereas the other two, Pleasance and Charles Gray, kind of camped it up a bit, and I guess I like Blofeld better, played seriously. And I'm hoping, if it turns out that Christoph Waltz is Blofeld in the new Bond movie, that he's going to play the part seriously. We don't know yet if he's Blofeld, but if he turns out to be Blofeld,
his character at the moment is titled Obenhauser or something.
Oberhauser, yeah.
Oberhauser, yeah.
I think it's going to be Blofeld, though.
Yeah,
probably, but we don't know for sure. But anyway, yeah. So Charles Gray for me, not the best Blofeld for me. Although I do have to admit, I do like the opening scene where Connery's trying to hunt him down. Where's Blofeld? And he's going to all this locale stuff to hunt down the man who killed his wife. So I thought that opening scene was good, and then he throws Blofeld into the mud bath, and he says, "Welcome to hell, Blofeld." Okay, so that was good.
The curry sauce.
The curry sauce. Yeah. I like Shirley Bassey's theme song. The theme song is a classic Bond theme. Las Vegas locales are good. The car chase is good. I like the car chase through the streets of Vegas, and when they finally wind up in the parking lot, or car park, as you say, and they're driving around in the lot. Yeah, that was well done. It has its moments. I do like Jimmy Dean. I think he and Connery have good chemistry. I think Jimmy Dean's pretty funny in this movie. I really don't like Bambi and Thumper. They're definitely the least attractive Bond girls I've ever seen in the series. They're too butch. Or you can put them with Grace Jones. Not the most feminine looking of Bond girls.
I mean, Bambi and Thumper, the names are just cringeworthy as well.
I mean, Bambi. Bambi, the white girl, she was too butch. But I thought Thumper, the black girl, I thought she was sexy. I didn't think she was butch to me. Well, fair enough. Oh my.
I think the names are cringy as well.
Yeah. And Connery's just getting its arse kicked.
Yeah.
Yeah, the fight scene isn't all that convincing, and okay, so then they wind up in the hot tub or something like that, and he basically defeats them just by dunking their heads under the water. It's like they don't even bother to fight back. It's not a very convincing fight. Not a very convincing fight the way it's staged. Let's see. Plenty O'Toole. Yeah, she's fun for the little bit of screen time that she's on.
Oh yeah.
Not on for too long, but she's okay. I guess for me, Diamonds Are Forever is a pretty mixed bag. I mean, it has its entertainments of fun. I mean, to me it's not a total failure. I mean, it has its elements of fun here and there, but it's not a Bond movie that I pull out all that often. If I want to watch a Connery movie, I'll put on probably one of the first four. And I mean, as you know, I love Thunderball, but also the previous three. That's usually the movies I'm going to go for when I want to watch a Connery movie. Diamonds Are Forever, I don't really go to all that much. So I guess my final verdict on it is that I'd give it maybe a 5 out of 10. Yeah, 5 out of 10. It's okay. It has its moments, but not Connery's finest hour. either. It's kind of disappointing for me that he went out with that one, but oh well, shit happens.
Came back and went out.
Well, it did come back for an unofficial film.
We're not going to.
But it's not official. It's not official. I will not acknowledge that one.
We're only talking about the official ones. I mean, yeah, Diamonds Are Forever, much kind of the same. It's a mixed bag. I don't particularly think this is as terrible as people say. I mean, I personally think Thunderball is the worst Connery film. No offense, Alan, but opinions are opinions.
It's all right.
Yeah, Diamonds Are Forever. The plot is fine when it works. I mean, it's all right, I guess. Nice to see Connery back. I mean, to be honest, I'd rather have old Connery back than George Lazenby in the film.
Whoa!
Yeah, God. Silly a lady, get off your chest. But anyway, I digress. The opening's really cool. Although it's never really explored afterwards. Like, it's a nice little, tie up to On Her Majesty's Secret Service, but it's not like the gritty revenge tale that people were hoping for. But oh well, we still get that in License to Kill and Quantum of Solace. But yeah, no, the action scenes are quite cool. Apart from the climax, I don't think that the rig fight is any good. I mean, it's sloppy. I think it's very anticlimactic. I mean, apparently there was an alternate ending, which would have been a lot better. I think.
Damn you! Damn you!
Damn you! But yeah, no. Connery, again, his performance is okay, but it really isn't really enough to, drive the film any further. I think the film's all right, but I don't think that Connery gives an amazing performance.
Yeah.
Certainly better than You Only Live Twice. His performance. I like Las Vegas. I like the fact that it's we're set in a different, area, and it's nice. It's nice to go into Las Vegas, and yeah, obviously Plenty O'Toole, great to look at. Doesn't really do much, but hey ho, it's a Bond film. What the hell?
Named after your father, perhaps.
Yeah, there are Bond girls that are throwing in just.
I'm Plenty. Yeah.
Tiffany Case. I'm not a big fan of Tiffany Case. I mean, I think she's okay, but she's just a bit annoying sometimes. I find that she shouts a bit too much, like, "Oh, blow up your pants!" Like, I was like, "Come on, Tiffany, just calm down." I mean, and and she's kind of. I don't want to sound harsh because Jack likes her, but she's a bit of a dimwit. I mean,
well, she's not really because
I know, because she switches the tapes and is. She's like, "Oh, I switched the tapes around. Oh, you stupid twit! You put the real one back in." Like,
no, but I mean, people say she's a twit. I know you and Alan say she's a twit, but the scene where she gets the glass and she's like brushing the glass and she's checking for the fingerprints, I don't think she was stupid when she did that. For me, I mean, okay, the machine gun bit where like she's shooting and falls off, okay, that's a bit stupid. But I mean, she didn't know Bond switched the tape. I don't think she's stupid, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I think she's good to look at, and especially in the bikini,
Bikini, yeah, I'll give her that.
Yeah, I'll give her that.
Definitely a sight for sore eyes in the bikini.
I love
yes.
the line that Blofeld says, showing a little bit more cheek. It was like the camera zooming in on a rear end.
On a rear end.
I kind of agree with Alan in a way that Roger Moore would have worked out quite well in this. But
that's where I disagree. As a Roger Moore fan, I don't know, because even with Connery, some of the film is a bit slow, so I don't think it really would have worked better.
That's only the first 20 minutes.
No, but I mean, like, even watching Diamonds Are Forever, even though it's one of my, even though I have the exact opposite reaction to Alan, like, this is, like, if I had to go back to a Connery film, it'd be this, Goldfinger, and From Russia for Love I'd go back to, but...
Dr. No.
Yeah, Dr. No as well, but, I mean, I don't think, I don't know, I mean, because some of it is a bit slow, even with when Connery isn't in it. It's just that I don't think it would have worked better. I think it would have just been the same if Roger Moore was in it. I think it's more to do with the pace of the film that kind of lets it down more than Connery.
I mean, I was speaking in terms of tone, but I can see your point. I mean, yeah, it is a little slow at the start, but not the slowest Connery film ever. I think tonally, I think it might have worked for Roger Moore, but I don't know. We never would have known. But I like Charles Gray as Blofeld, but the drag scene was unnecessary. It doesn't piss me off or anything, but when I watch it, I just go, "You didn't need this." you didn't really need this guy, Hamilton. Why did you do this? It's not really appropriate. It's. I feel like this movie tries too hard to be a comedy, and it sometimes it falls flat, and it kind of bothers me a little bit. The drag scene, and Tiffany trying to be all loud and whatnot. I don't know. Sometimes I just don't feel like this movie can deliver as a comedy. But I mean, as a Bond film, it certainly has its entertaining moments, like the car chase, and the action is great. I mean, it is really just a fun romp. I think it's better than the previous two Connery films. It's good, but I think structurally a couple of elements could have been improved, like the climax. Although the fight with Winton Kid at the end was cool. I mean, Winning Kid, they're alright, I guess. They're okay.
I forgot to mention I'm not a fan of Winton Kid. I'm sorry. I mean, to me they just come across as annoying. Sorry, Jack. Don't really like them.
I mean, I can't. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
No, I was just gonna say I neither think they're great nor terrible. I just think they're meh. I don't really care about Winton.
I like them because they kind of bring in a diverseness to the Bond series, because you didn't really have gay assassins before that.
Well, we had Pussy Galore, who was sort of a villain, well, at first, and then sort of gay. Well,
no, but she was lesbian. I'm talking about.
Yeah, well, same thing, just woman.
Oh my.
Anyway, yeah, no, Diamonds Are Forever. I don't really care for it very much, but I think it's passable. I think it's. I rate this over License to Kill purely because it knows what it wants to be. It has a tone and it does keep consistent. But yeah, the Bambi and Thumper scene just annoyed me just because Connery kept getting his ass kicked. And the names are just cringy. Just like you don't stop. You're trying too hard to get a laugh, and it's just annoying.
Come on, the plenty of tilts. Come on, you like that?
I like that, but that was all right.
I like that. Yeah.
Bambi and Thumper. Oh God! I mean the names. I mean, I don't have a problem with the two actresses. I think they're okay. But I wouldn't rush to sleep with them or anything. But they're all right.
Well, the black one was fair, I thought.
Yeah, all right, I guess. But yeah, no. Felix Leiter, I think he was in this film. He was okay. He didn't do much. I can't really think of what else to say about him. Yeah, no, I love the Shirley Bassey song. Love the title sequence. Well, the score is a bit of a mixed bag for me. A couple of tracks I don't really like the da 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 da, like that. They really overuse that track, and it starts to annoy me. But
I like that one.
Apart from that, the rest of it is pretty cool. Like the da 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 da.
Yeah. Da, 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 da.
Yeah, I like that one, but the other ones they're just kind of dull, really. But it's not the worst Bond soundtrack. I think the Shirley Bassey song is a classic.
Well, I think the GoldenEye soundtrack's the worst.
Yeah, no, it's much better than Eric Serra score. But I mean, clung together.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my final verdict on Diamonds Are Forever is I'd give it about 6 out of 10. I think it's passable, but I don't think it's anything major. It shouldn't have been the send off for Connery. Well, the return / the send off. It's a shame that Connery on this, but yeah. It beats George Lazenby.
I'm sure he had a lot more fun shooting it than he did You Only Live Twice, so I'm sure for Connery it was a better send-off.
Yeah.
Well, actually, Connery said in an interview for Diamonds Are Forever he had a lot of fun making it because it was a lot more of a fun Bond film. I mean, maybe I just have nostalgia for it because it was the first Bond film that I saw, but for me, I just like it personally because it's trying to be something different and it knows what it wants to be. I mean, I kind of agree with you and Alan. It is kind of disappointing. It doesn't feel like Connery's last Bond film.
It's more fun than good. It's not really well made. It's more fun than good.
Yeah, it's kind of the opposite of Thunderball. Thunderball was a well-made film, but it was slow. Diamonds Are Forever, it's not a well-made film, but it's a lot quicker. So yeah.
I give it 6 out of 10 purely because it has some good isolated moments, but as a film, it doesn't really it doesn't excite me very much when I watch it. I mean, if I was to watch the Connery films back to back, it definitely stands out in some ways, not necessarily for good all the time, but yeah. But that's it. That's the Connery era. So just a final thing before we finish.
Shouldn't we ask everybody what we thought of the Connery era? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
overall?
Just like your thoughts of the six films, like as an era. What do you guys think of them? Like, Alan, you wanna say your piece?
Um, well, as you know, Connery's my favorite Bond, and okay, so he did 6 official Bond movies, and I like 4 out of. So, well, actually, hold on. No, I like 5 out of 6. I mean, I still give You Only Live Twice a marginal passing grade. So I mean, overall, I like the Connery era, although I think it starts to go soft with You Only Live Twice. I know you guys would say Thunderball, but for me, You Only Live Twice is where the Connery stuff starts to not be so great anymore. But overall, I mean, for me, he's still the definitive Bond. I mean, he got there first. He was the Bond who planted the flag, and I think he's got tons of charisma, and I always thought that Connery was a very commanding presence
Mm.
as Bond, and I mean I like
Never
all the other
throw him under
Bonds.
the
I mean,
rug.
but Connery got there first, and he is arguably my favorite of the Bonds, and I think his first 4, and yes, I'm including Thunderball. His first 4 Bond movies are all great stuff. And even though it kind of turns soft towards the end, I mean there's more good there than bad in his era. So overall, I like Connery's era very much, and yeah, he's my favorite Bond. So there you go.
Fair enough. Jack?
Well, overall, I think Connery.
Parody! Good.
Overall, I think Connery's he's a good Bond. I mean, for me, his first 3 films are his best. I think out of the 6 films, 3 of them I like, and one I think's like good slash okay, Diamonds Are Forever. But I think Connery himself as Bond, like Goldfinger, I think was his definitive performance, and then after that he started to drop the ball. Thunderball, I thought was okay performance, not terrible, not great, but a good performance. You Only Live Twice was crap. I mean, and Diamonds Are Forever, he was kind of the same. He was kind of like he was a bit better, but he was just back for the money. I mean, overall, for me, I can understand why a lot of people love Connery. He was the first Bond, he was the first one there. But for me,
Definitely planted his seed on the
yeah,
set.
yeah, yeah. But for me personally, I just think he's a bit overrated. I mean, that's not to say that I still think he's a great Bond. I mean, like I take him over Brosnan or Lazenby every day. But for me, his performance just kind of it's not consistent after 3 films. He just drops the ball, and and his films really are for me are just kind of a mixed bag. Some I can watch, some I can't really watch because of the pacing. Um, Overall, I mean, for me, Connery, he just got a bit greedy, I thought, when he came back with Diamonds Are Forever and Never Say Never Again. I think he was like with, I mean, I know we're not going to mention it really, but with Never Say Never Again, he tried to come back and he was saying that Roger Moore was a parody and that, he was still James Bond. And I just kind of felt like, Kevin, just fuck off, because I mean, it's like Roger Moore has and it's like Roger Moore has done 6 films, and you're saying he's a parody coming back for Never Say Never Again. I mean, Connery I still think is a great Bond, but just I think he's a bit overrated for me. I mean, I don't understand why Alan loves him and other people love him because he was the first Bond, but I think after his first 3 he drops the ball, and his era overall is just a mixed bag, and he only really came back for the money in Diamonds Are Forever, and he's still trying to say he was Bond, but yeah, overall though I think Connery's a good Bond, but not my favourite.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, as for me, I kind of agree with Jack. I think Connery's era is a very mixed bag. I like half of it is really good, and half of it ranges from all right to pretty crap. I mean, I really love his first 3 films. I think but I like Doctor No from Rush with Love. I love Goldfinger. I think that's definitely his best film.
Yeah, Goldfinger. Yeah.
Yeah, Thunderball. I don't like it. I mean, it's not the worst Bond film ever, but for me, it's just Connery's worst purely on pacing.
Yeah.
It's well made, but it's just pacing wise. I just can't get into it. You Only Live Twice is just a bit silly, to be honest. I think I don't know. I mean, whilst they make good use of the locations, it just doesn't really do it for me. I mean, Times Are Forever knows what it wants to be, and it's a bit more fun than good. I mean, it's not well made, but it's good. It's good enough. I mean, so it's a mixed era, but I think it's nice. I mean, for the die-hard Connery fans, they're obviously going to defend all six of the films, to the very end. I mean, obviously Alan doesn't like all six of them, but he defends Connery, so I respect him for that. Yeah, no, Connery is not my favourite purely because his performance deteriorates after his third film, which kind of bothers me a little bit. I mean, I don't think that he's my favourite. He never was. I mean, I always loved Daniel Craig, but whenever if there's a Connery film on that I like, then I'll probably watch it. Because I think some of his films are really enjoyable. But yeah, I mean,
I think for me, sorry, I think for me, he was my favorite Bond in my childhood, but now he's just, he's kind of, I think you're right, his performance, it does deteriorate after Goldfinger.
I know he had problems with Harry Saltzman, but he kind of let that get in the way on screen.
Yeah, but continue. Go on.
Yeah, no, he just looked incredibly pissed off the whole time during You Only Live Twice. He's like, yes, this is my second life. Cool. Take, I mean, and it does over the years. He did become a little arrogant. I mean, when he was like, oh, Roger Moore, he's just a parody. It's a little bit Roger Moore because I mean, Roger Moore didn't deserve that comment. I mean, Roger Moore. I mean, well, actually, we'll talk about Roger Moore in the third hangout, but yeah, that's the end of Connery's era. So yeah, thanks everybody for watching. What do you think about this hangout? Did you enjoy it? Did we discuss very well? Next time we will be reflecting on George Lazenby.
Laserbeam!
Lazenby, who appeared in the one and only film On Her Majesty's Secret Service. We'll probably do that next week at the same time, so we know that Alan will be around, because otherwise we don't want to do this when he's at work, so otherwise that'll be inconvenient for him.
Yeah.
So yeah, anything you guys want to say before I end the broadcast?
Yeah, this was fun. Although I have to tell you, I was not aware you guys were doing this, which is why I'm lying in bed doing this podcast thing.
Yeah. I'm so sorry about bringing it on you, Alan.
Yeah,
really sorry.
That's okay. Yeah, I got a very very early phone call. I didn't know you guys were going to do this, but I couldn't resist, so I figured, okay, I'll just lie in bed and I'll just do the podcast from lying in bed. So it was a lot of fun. I can't guarantee I'll be available for the next one. I mean, just because of the time zones. I mean, it'd be nice if it could be done, I don't know, like 2 or 3 hours later. But if that's not convenient for you guys, I understand. But
I know it's fine. I mean,
look, we can wait. Hold on, America is 5 hours behind us. So if we did ours
I think you guys are ahead by 8 hours.
Well, right now it's 3:15 in the afternoon where we are.
What time's it
okay,
there?
So that's 7 hours. You guys are 7 hours ahead of me. Yeah. Right now. So I'm just saying, because of the time difference, I can't guarantee I'll be able to do the other ones. But if I can pitch in and participate,
we'll try and do it next Monday, evening for us. So then it will be during the day for you. So it'll be
that would work out much better, much better for me.
Yeah, then you won't be so tired. So I apologise for springing it on you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or you could name a day when you want to, when you're off work or whatever.
Yeah, just Alan, do you have Skypes, and then you can message us.
Don't have Skype just yet. I know I need to go out and get a camera for my laptop, but I will do that shortly.
Yeah, because
But
me and Jack use Skype and we message each other that way. It's easier. Or you could
um,
use Google Plus, whatever's easier.
okay, yeah. So I'll look into getting a camera for the laptop, so then I can do the Skype thing. But oh yeah, I mean this was fun. This was kind of a surprise, but nice to finally chat with you guys live and
Yeah, no,
be able
thank
to
you very
do
much.
a podcast from bed. Yeah, no, my pleasure. So I hope we'll be able to do it again.
Yeah, well, that's that. Thank you guys for watching as well. And thanks to Alan Caylow and Jack McCullough. Please subscribe to them. They are very good and their Bond reviews are excellent. Please subscribe
Party!
to parodies, yeah, and subscribe to me. And tune in next time for the Lazenby Hangout. So thank you guys for watching. And this is Alan Caylow, Jack McCullough, and I'm Mr. TARDIS11. So see ya.